When you say 82%, that's 82% profitability.
That is correct. This is really just being very intentional about where you're putting your energy and your schedule, and just showing up and doing it consistently. And I don't think there's really a magic bean or a special sauce. I think you just have to do the work.
So what is it that you do in business that you're absolutely crushing and you do better than anyone else?
So when I first came back to Portland and had no sphere, one of the things that always really appealed to me were women in the service industry. My mother had been an engineer. I felt like they're a little bit of unsung heroes. So what I started doing in my first year, other than of course open houses, et cetera, like everybody else does, is I started meeting with these women in the service industry for about half an hour in my office, just for tea. Not about my business, but just to hear about their business. And so what we started doing is whenever there was a request for something from someone in the community, on the community boards, through social media, or just around town, I would make these recommendations of these folks. Whenever I have a closing, I tag everybody that had anything to do with it: the carpet cleaner, the house cleaner, the window covering specialist, if there was pre-listing prep, any repairs that were done. Everybody gets a shout out, not only on my social media page, but also if I have a listing, I have little look cards all around the house that says, this home was prepped by Trisha Johnson at PDX Aero. And so it became this network of referrals, and it has now grown to a binder which goes to all of my clients, which is over 40 pages long, of people that I work with on a regular basis. So that's really how my business was built. It's one of my legs of lead generation is networking. I'm recently the president of a BNI, so I belong to that group and have for many years. And I belong to an organization called MOB, which is Mother Owned Businesses. And I'm a frequent special guest there for speaking, but also I show up every week consistently to all of my networking groups because this is part of my lead generation.
Okay, so your model for building a big business is networking. And I love what you said. You started out small with something as simple as tea with the women in the service industry. How did you know who to reach out to?
So I started with that MOB group very early on, and these were all women. And so I started to reach out and put the word out. I'm looking for people to refer my clients to. Who should I know? And then getting them in for tea. And then really making it about them. Even in the BNI group, this is about building other people's businesses. So if you focus on being of service to others, that's where this all comes about. So I really bring that service-based piece to everybody that I meet with. And then I become the go-to. Jason Abrams talks about this a lot, about being that go-to person. So my specialties are that I know everybody that you need to know, and I'm very data-centered. There's no emotion in the numbers. They are what they are. So this is why people keep coming back to me, is because to be that person of choice for all of the things. And it honestly, I would love to say it was very intentional from the beginning. It really wasn't.
This is awesome. Okay, so the very first thing is you get them in, and I'm going to use the sales funnel so that we really simplify this. So you get them in just to the table, you learn about them. Everything is about them.
Yes.
Then you're figuring out, how do I actually provide them business? And you come from contribution by making it about them, helping them succeed first, and in return, then you're experiencing success because you generate referrals.
I generate referrals from them, and I think just by always being active in social media, especially with thanking all of the people that I'm thanking, people start to really see it. So if you look in my business at this point, every part of my business is really centered around my gift giving company and all of the people who provide the wine, who provide the products. I'm tagging each of these people. Now, of course, these people do recommend me and they do use me for their own purchases and sales. But really what it's about is just really communicating and cross promoting these people in a very public way. And so over time, they're referring me, but people are also really seeing me very actively promoting other people.
Yeah, indirectly, you just mastered branding.
That's what I've really focused on, is just being that person of choice for all of the people. And what I've done with the social media groups is some of those people are really very early on. And at the point that I'm at now as an individual agent, unfortunately, I can't see people necessarily that are 3 years out, but they want the information and they should have it. So that's why I created this funnel of these buyer and seller classes for those people that think that they may not be ready right now. We'll do a 2-hour class every month with a lender and with an insurance person, and we cover these people that may be kind of in the beginning of their search, but now they're all in my command. Everybody is in command. Everybody that has signed up for the class, whether they show up or not, they're in command. And so we build on that. We invite these people to our community events. We invite them to our client events. We're staying in touch with these people. So that becomes my funnel for times like this when the market has shifted and buyers are, a little less active. Now this is really where you're tapping into that wonderful community that we've created.
What's next? Is there anything else that you do after this once they go into your command, which is your CRM system? Is there anything else that you do?
Well, we're in constant contact via texting. I do use the smart plans. I do invite them I have several community events throughout the year, as well as client events. Yeah, so I'm always trying to figure out a way to engage people in the business. I actually have a listing I just got live yesterday from someone who knew me from Facebook and was coming to my client events. And when it was time for her to sell 3 or 4 years later, she said, I've just been coming to your events and I love what you do and I love what you stand for, and I want you to be my agent. The other piece of it too, which I think is a little unique about my business, because I'm a huge fan of the models and MREA. I decided that I wasn't necessarily wanting to build a team. And Gary has said many times, like, even if you're an individual agent, no one succeeds alone. So all of these people that I'm talking about, they are my team. I'm an individual agent that uses an in-house transaction coordinator and an in-house listing coordinator. I have another individual agent within the market center who helps me with showings. I have my general contractor. I have my gift giver. I have all of these people, my, of course, escrow title, all of these people around me. These are my team. But the thing that's beautiful about this is that I'm able to run a very tight ship. I run at about 82% because I only pay per transaction. And I'm not doing anything salary-wise or anything else. Gary always says to kind of run lean and into the market that you're going into next, and I do.
Actually, what you did was one of the 6 personal perspectives, which you went from E to P. You went from being entrepreneurial when you first moved out to Portland to being very purposeful to build this massive business that you have today.
Yeah, for sure. And I've taken MAPS coaching. I go to Bold. I participate in Northwest region, has another event next week. I really try to absorb as much as I can from people who have been doing this longer and not reinventing the wheel. But I think when you choose your legs of lead generation, you really should do the things that you like. Like, I like networking. I like being around people. I like that leadership opportunity, being BNI president. I like that. I'm not someone who is ever really comfortable with calling expireds and door knocking. There are people that are awesome at it. There are people that are great at converting leads, via web. It's just not my personality. So I stick to the things that work best for me. And if it stops working, like the open houses, I felt like over time were not my best usage of time, then find something else. But I stick to these 3 and I do them at a very high level every day.
Aubrey, congratulations. 82% profitability, a massive business built through relationships, leaning into the communities and vendors. Can't do it any better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat as well.